Before we get into the video, I just want to let you know that we have completed reacting to Season 1 and Season 2 of Escape the Night, Joey Graceffa's really interesting YouTube little series on my Patreon. Season 1 completely reacted to, Season 2 completely reacted to. Both of them were absolutely deranged, and we are about to move over to Season 3, which is going to be really interesting because I'm pretty sure some of my ops are maybe in that cast. But if you want to go watch them, they are all streaming right now on my Patreon. It'll be linked down below, and on with the video. Okay, I really want to talk about what is going on. So people have been sending me that Ruby Franke's ex-husband, Kevin, and also their son Chad have basically done a bunch of interviews, and they have talked about everything that has been going on. Obviously, we know that Ruby and Jody are locked up right now, and may they remain locked up for a very long time, by the way. I want them to get the max sentence possible. But also, one thing I wanted to talk about this video specifically, because Chad, who was obviously... Sorry, I'm getting comfortable here. Chad, who was their son, who was so mistreated by Ruby, you know, is now speaking out, and he has been doing interviews and stuff. And this is one that I find where he was doing it with Kevin. Now, for something that's really interesting to me is I feel like people glaze Kevin a lot, and they are kind of loving that Kevin is doing these interviews and are like praising him as the dad who was kept away. But am I the only one who doesn't see any sympathy for Kevin at all? Because his story is that Jody Hildebrandt came in and that she ostracized him, but then he basically, from my knowledge, didn't really do anything to ensure that the kids were safe. So in my books, and also he was literally there for all of the family vlogging as well, which please let's not forget. So am I the only one that still is like about Kevin Franke? I feel like he got off easy. But anyways, let's hear this from People Magazine. Kevin and Chad sitting down together to talk about everything that is going on. But okay, Chad are agreeing with me. See, this is why I like all of you. We are probably the only people on the internet that don't just fucking open arms to Kevin Franke.
You can just put easy and clean labels. This tragedy isn't something that you can just put easy and clean labels on. It's a very complex story.
Yeah, and you were involved in it as well.
Old boy show up here at my front door. He's got duct taped around each ankle. He's obviously covered in wounds.
Franke, how do you plead to count 1, child abuse?
Guilty.
To count 3, child abuse?
With my deepest regret and sorrow for my family and my children.
Evil
Guilty.
woman.
A lot of the physical violence that was described was hidden and kept from me. I didn't even know that those things happened. And I think Ruby was really careful to hide a lot of that from me. As far as the things like sleeping on a beanbag.
But he was living in the house when all of this was happening. What do you mean it was hidden? I'm sorry, am I the only, like, well, I know you guys are all in agreement, but when this gets uploaded to YouTube, because we're currently streaming live on Twitch, I just feel like he is relying on the fact that Ruby cannot speak out against him right now, because obviously, thankfully, she's locked up. So I don't know how he's saying it's been hidden. Yeah, it literally is on video. It's on videos. God.
Like removing Chad from sports teams and things. All of those directives came from Jody, the licensed mental health.
And he was in the house living in that situation for a very long time during this as well. Obviously, he left during it, but I don't understand why he's not acknowledging that time frame that he was directly involved in the decisions as well. I don't know. Doesn't sit right with me. Obviously, I'm not the one who was at the hands of it. He's sitting with Chad, who was one of, you know, the kids, so...
Counselor. I definitely voiced my opposition and concern. And
he voiced his opposition to what? Your children being abused? Oh my God, Father of the Year award.
And it was always flipped back onto me of saying, well, you know, this is why your children are disobedient. This is why you're having problems with your children, because you just enable them all the time. You're the problem, Kevin.
When you work with a licensed therapist who is giving you advice, and, you know, you've trusted her for 5 years, and, you know, at first it was great advice, and, you know, I felt like she did a really good job with me. But, you know, when you build a relationship for 5 years, and when it gets to the point where your mom also trusts her more than she trusts her husband. For my dad, I understand that, you know, in order to get his family back and to not run into problems with my mom and our therapist, you know, he had to obey her rules and follow each step.
Listen, I'm not one of the children, so let me not overstep a boundary here. But when I think of Kevin Franke's involvement in this, I don't think as a father who was just trying to obey the rules. I think it was a father that, in my opinion, abandoned his kids.
I think it's relatively easy for somebody out there who's, you know, armchairing this and
Give me it. I'm armchairing it. Tell me, Kevin, what do I not know?
looking at this experience going, well, why didn't he just do that? I would have done that. If, you know, it was day number 1 and Jody came to me and said, yeah, you know, you.
But he was involved when the family were vlogging and the kids were going through things already, which is what he glazes over.
You're selfish. You need to go into separation and repent. I would have told her to take a hike.
Yeah.
I would have been like, you're crazy. And I did say that in the first time I was introduced to Jody's program. But you have to remember, and these individuals.
Okay, but you and Ruby were already being called out for things from your channel before Jody was even in the picture.
Those have to remember that this was now, you know, I was 2.5 years in this program now, and Jody doesn't start from day one saying stuff like that. She gets her hooks into you and slowly begins to.
Can I also be honest as well? I do believe that Ruby Franke is an evil person. I believe that Jody Hildebrandt is an evil person. But I do believe that people like Kevin are leaning into that they are bad people to kind of hype up more and take responsibility away from their involvement, if that makes sense. So Kevin is able to now know that the public know that Jody is an evil, evil, evil woman and Ruby is evil, 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 and do these things. So he's actually able to feed into that narrative, in my opinion, for things maybe he just kind of gave a side eye to or whatever, and lean into how evil she was. Maybe I'm wrong here, but I do believe that he kind of jumps on that a little bit. How do we feel about that? Do we agree with me? Do we disagree? What do we think? I think he's glazing her. Yeah, well, yeah. He's trying to place himself as a victim in it as well. And you know what? There may be an element of truth in that, but yeah, absolving. I think he is using the narrative of Jody and Ruby, which is a true narrative, by the way, to absolve him of everything.
Indoctrinate you and condition you to believe things about yourself and to willingly give power to other people because you come to believe that you yourself aren't capable of making good decisions. When that was suggested to me after all of that indoctrinating and conditioning, at the time, it seemed like, oh, you're right. Okay.
The words he's using as well kind of give PR to me.
Indoctrinating and conditioning.
Maybe I'm just looking into it too much. I also think I just kind of, I don't think I like him because I just don't like his narrative here. I think it's dishonest. And if it is honest, then he's just a negligent parent.
At the time, it seemed like, oh, you're right. Okay. But, you know, again, I understand for somebody who wasn't in it that it would seem strange. There was that coercion and flipping it back onto me, the gaslighting, that I was like, okay, well.
I'm going to be honest here. I do think that there's a lot of PR going on here with specifically the words that he's using. These are big words that you see in the media being used in like news articles and stuff.
Maybe I am wrong. Maybe this is the right way to parent.
And yeah, he definitely has been PR trained by a lawyer and all like that. I agree with you. It's just weird how kind of PR this feels.
But I know that there's a lot of sentiment out there, and you know, I think I want to address this very directly and very clearly. One of the things that I've been so upset about with the popular media's narrative of this experience is how they've collapsed the timeline, and they've taken the events of.
Does this not feel weird to anyone else? Does this not feel weird to anyone else?
2023, which were criminal, which were atrocious and horrific. And
Also, just like speaking for, I guess, Chad, the son. Like, why is Kevin here?
they've just smashed them all the way back into previous years and extrapolated and assumed that those types of criminal activities were occurring years before Jody entered our family. And that's just simply not
But you were being called out for the vlogs year prior.
true. The criminal physical stuff happened after Jody came into the picture,
He's using really interesting words here. The criminal stuff happened after Jody.
the severe and the strict consequences and
Yeah, that's a good point. Chad is sitting right beside. He can talk for himself. You don't need to be introducing, but like, it's like when someone's trying to like manipulate or at least, you know, lead you in a way, I guess, where it's like they will speak before someone speaks and they will basically condense everything that the person is going to say, but in a way that the person then has to follow up and be like, yeah, on that point.
outcomes came after Jody came into the picture. Ruby herself, though, was
God, she is so
throughout our
chopped.
marriage, she took a very strict stance when it came to parenting.
Yeah.
And I think she learned a lot of that from her own parents and her own family. The rules, the boundaries of the separation were completely defined by my former wife, Ruby, and by Jody. What made it difficult was, they could cross the boundary anytime they wanted to, and that was okay. That was, quote unquote, in truth. But if I were to seek, even attempt
is this
to
all about
cross that
him?
boundary, that was an evidence that I was being selfish, that I was unsafe, and that likely my marriage would have ended. Well, Ruby had a few communications with me. I don't recall anymore the exact number of times, but it was always around logistics. Some neighbors and things and early on in the separation would reach out when they started to realize, like, whoa, like, what are you doing? As I'm sure Chad can share his perspective as well.
Well, I'm oh my God, look. Yeah. It's like it's saying the story and then being like, well, you can now say it. You've already fucking said it. It's like controlling the narrative.
Well, we were both really indoctrinated that we needed complete
big word.
isolation in order
Another big
to
word.
heal, and that if we were interacting with anybody,
I don't know,
that
this feels
was
really
contrary
weird to me, right?
The messaging that Jody, the other men in connections, and Ruby wanted us to accept and ingest, then we were being selfish.
I was also required to move out of the house and never contact my siblings, never go back home. So it's funny because a couple people did reach out. A neighbor saw me riding my bike to school and to work, and she felt so bad because she realized I was a minor. I was 17, out living on my own, and so she offered to buy me a car. And I really wanted to take that up, but Jody, who's my therapist and I trusted and loved, at that point, she wanted me to live a very physical, straining and mental straining life while I was out there. That
Jody
was
Hildebrandt
her,
needs to rot in prison.
Mindset when it came to repentance and changing is put yourself through as much pain as possible. So, that was a really hard year, physically and emotionally, not being able to have any family for that long and no contact at all. And
That right
he's
there,
only
which I
29.
just expressed, is
What,
the
Kevin?
common theme in these separations that Jody recommends.
Oh my God,
and
he's
that
making it all about himself. Chad was talking about his experience. Kevin. I think it's Kevin setting up the story as much as possible as to why he is also a victim in this, which I guess, can be true. I'm not saying that's not true, but it just feels like this is not about you right now. Acknowledge your involvement in this, whether it's neglect or actual involvement, and let this moment not be about you right now. The kids are finally having a voice.
that she would tell us to do as her treatment. She insisted that we subject ourselves to pain and discomfort, and in pain.
It's like, you know what I mean? He's saying, Jody said that we have to subject ourselves to pain after Chad has just said that Jody made sure that he was living a very physically, intense life, for pain and stuff like that. And then Kevin follows it up with, yeah, Jody made sure Kevin, this is not about you. Kevin, you were a grown adult through this, and I'm not saying a grown adult can't be manipulated or gaslit or anything, but I'm just saying that what's important right now is hearing whenever we're hearing from these kids, letting them talk and not talking for them because they haven't been able to talk. And you were there for a time period when they weren't able to talk. You were involved in the family channel as well.
Pain and discomfort would be what would change us, what would make us stronger. This documentary is an excellent project that will give people a much closer view of the real story. But even the documentary can only cover so much in 3 episodes. There's much more that I hope to share in the future. And
You want a fucking box office deal? He's making it sound like a profiting tool, in my opinion. In my opinion. He goes, you can't get enough out in 3 episodes, so hoping down the future, if you cared enough to say these things, you would have already done it, legal involved or not. If you're saying it in documentaries, you can say it on other forums.
And help people understand about this experience. A lot of people will look at me and say, how could he ever do that? I would never do that. But, for those who respectfully ask me about that and say, how could you? My response to that is, well, who do you love more than anybody? And sometimes it's a child, sometimes it's a spouse, they say. And I say, well, what would happen if that individual that you love more than anybody started to go a different way and was inviting you and encouraging you? Would you just easily be able to let them go?
But I thought you were uninvolved.
Be able to say, you're out of my life, goodbye. And that really gets people thinking.
Okay, so you're acknowledging there your involvement in it. So stop infantilizing yourself and let's focus on who's actually, should be heard right now, which is Chad sitting right beside you in silence because you're fucking taking all the airtime.
And so, I want people to really think about that. Another thing that I hope people think about.
Why are we the ones having to do all the thinking?
Watching this is the role that social media and the internet plays in our lives today, and how it really fanned the flames of this story and spread it like wildfire, the truths and the falsities of it. The dangers that can come when you place yourself or your family or your children into the public spotlight.
Not the fucking preacher, no. You're the one that did it, not us. Why is this a learning curve for us? It's honestly fucking ridiculous. Why is this a learning curve for us, Kevin? This is not about us. This is about you. You can't blame the entire YouTube audience on this.
On social media, there's a lot of incentives out there today to do that. But, I hope that people really stop and recognize, is this really what's best for
Kevin? You're the one who did it. You're the one who did it. You're the one who fucking made the videos. You're the one who made the money off them. You're the one that your children were your career. You, not us. So when you have the audacity at the start of this interview to be like, for all the keyboard warriors, you're implying that the keyboard warriors, like myself, have done the same thing you've done, which is so factually not true.
For my kids, not just financially, but emotionally and psychologically. The things that you see that are concerning in the documentary, such as the sternness, the yelling at the kids to get them to comply in the filming and those kinds of things. I think a lot of people that aren't familiar with family content,
Kevin, you were there for all this.
Content creation would look at that and go, that's horrible. That's abusive. And it is abusive. But what I want people to understand.
People would look at that and say it's abusive. And you know what? It is abusive. Kevin.
Is that was not unique to our family.
Okay, great. So he's confirming that yes, they were abusing the kids for their YouTube videos, but don't worry, they're not the only ones that have done it. That's your gotcha moment. Yes, we were abusing the kids for our YouTube videos, but we're not the only ones who abuse kids for YouTube content.
I don't know a single family content creator that did not have interactions like that with their children.
Yeah.
Kevin, this is not doing what I think you think it's doing. This is very fucking weird.
And I can testify the same. I mean, we would go on, big YouTube trips, and there would be so many family vloggers there with so many kids and cameras out, and the stuff that my mom did behind the scenes, like, yelling or get back in place or say that again, or, the sternness, that wasn't just my mom as well. I mean, a lot of, vloggers and parents who are putting their kids on camera, they act the exact same. They want their kids to repeat something. They want their kids to act a certain way. They want
Yeah, and fuck those parents for doing that to the kids. One of them being sitting right fucking there.
them in a certain spot. And, since they're their kids, they can be a little more stern and raise their voice.
And if
So
anything, the fact that Kevin is like normalizing that this was just the vibe at the time, then has Chad being like, yeah, I can confirm this is just how it went, which goes to show that Kevin's not doing a good job parenting even now.
those behind the scenes that everyone is seeing, that kind of scares them. It's not uncommon.
Fake being happy. Okay? I don't know if I can right now.
One of the reasons we were willing to give the raw footage to the production team for this documentary was to get this point across. And one of the biggest fears, if not the biggest fear of any family content creator on social media today, is having their raw footage somehow leaked, and so that people can see what really goes on behind the camera. These individuals are wanting everyone to believe.
Well, Kevin, you only leaked footage of Ruby. Fuck's she gonna do? She's behind bars. Thank God. He's acting like he's saying, this is a family channel's biggest fear. Yeah, the only things you handed over were footage of Ruby. So, it's a real head-scratching moment. You really didn't lose anything there.
Believe that their content is uplifting and wholesome and pure, and sure, the final product appears that way, but the making of the sausage, it's ugly.
I definitely hate
Never heard that analogy before.
the things she did, and I feel like I'm also a very lighthearted person in a sense where I would never wish someone to have a bad life, or what I really hope is that from here she becomes a better person, and that she works on that and she truly tries to
hope she
change.
rots, but that's just
I
me.
have no contact with her right now, and I don't plan to anytime soon, but then again, she's still blood. She's still my mom, and maybe down the road eventually I'll have like a conversation with her, and maybe eventually have a relationship where we can just talk. But when it comes to her actually being a mom and then eventually a grandma, I don't think I'll ever have that kind of close relationship again. It's hard, of course, but I mean, when I go home, I feel like no one's missing. I don't really feel like I wish mom was here. I don't really have those feelings really at all. It doesn't.
Wait, Chad and Shari are both engaged? Or Sherry? That's crazy. They're both... Chad's 20. They both just got engaged to their boyfriend and girlfriend. Damn, people are getting engaged young AF. You know what? Good for them. Good for them. I hope both of them are happy.
Doesn't feel wrong not having her in my home, and that's okay. So I feel like
They're
I'm
Mormon.
in a good spot, even though she's not here.
The last letter that I
here he goes again.
received from her from prison was maybe in March or April of last year, and then I requested the Department of Corrections to ask her to stop writing me. I didn't want to hear anymore. I didn't like what she was saying, and I'm not going to share that. That's between her and me. But
Okay.
it just didn't feel right, and it didn't feel good. And I'm very angry. I'm still very angry, and I need space and I need time.
You need space and time. That's why you're on... I mean... I can be so nasty here, but I'm trying not to be. You need space and time. That's why you're doing a media tour talking about it, talking over your children. Kevin, don't piss me off. Don't piss me off.
So I don't know, but I can't imagine being in prison is enjoyable or easy. So I really can't comment beyond that. Point is that she's where she's at, and she's going to be there for a long time. And I genuinely hope that she gets the help that she needs. And
Kevin,
just,
let's Kevin,
abandoned
Kevin,
in
Kevin,
some
Kevin,
hole.
Kevin. Yes, we can wish for that, but we're also not absolving you from your responsibility. So stop trying to rewrite the fucking narrative here. It pisses me the fuck off.
Because I really believe that that she was damaged severely by.
Okay, and you were also involved, sir. You were also involved, sir.
Swallowing the teachings that Jody just was serving up for her. Do I still feel hurt and pain and grief and sadness and sorrow when I think about...
Jesus Christ, can you fit any more fucking adjectives in there? Sad and miserable and terrified and upset and depressed and anxious. And this is not about you. This should not be about you. And the fact that you're making this entire, I guess, press tour about you is fucking crazy. And I think it speaks a lot about you. I think it speaks a lot about you.
What we had and what was lost. Yeah. Do I miss those happy moments and, years and years of good memories? I do. And I'm not ashamed to say that, after being married over 20 years to that woman, I truly did and still do love her. But that doesn't excuse what she did, and it doesn't excuse how she hurt.
I'm going to be honest. If my partner was abusing my kids and I didn't know about it, I wouldn't still love them. Kevin.
Our children and how she hurt me. And
okay, so not only how she hurt the children, how she hurt Kevin. Oh, brother.
And there's some things that there's some bridges that you just can't cross and then cross back. She burned the bridges. As of today, I'm still working through the divorce.
Oh my God, this is all about him. It's fucking Chop Central over here. It's all about him. It really is so crazy. The way he speaks is so performative.
We're trying to reach a settlement. It's been a long process, well over a year, but it's ongoing. I'm still...
Spoken about the kids, yeah, it's all about him. Pretty much all about him, and he hasn't really let his child beside him, who's one of the main ones of the story, talk.
Technically married. And so I'm holding off until the divorce is finalized. But I'm grateful for some friendships that I have, and I've gotten a lot of support.
Who the fuck cares?
From some friendships that I have.
Kevin's Johnny Silvestri in the H3 interview. It's giving that.
And when the time's right, that's something I think that I'll look forward to pursuing. As a family, we're progressing and healing.
I moved in with him like a month or two right after the arrest, and that was suggested by a couple of close friends because we were separate for so long. So they thought it would be good if we reconnected by just living together again. And eventually it felt like we were roommates. So I moved out because I turned 19 and 20 and I wanted my own space. So, but yeah, it's great. We have a ton of pets now, and every Sunday we put them all together, and it's like we have a zoo.
We started our own family tradition of a family dinner on Sundays, and
Sherry comes over, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. I definitely didn't think my life would be like this, especially after hearing the news about everything that happened. I didn't expect that to happen at all, but from here, where I'm at now, I feel like I expect good things out of the future. And
when you're talking about how you're looking forward to dating again during the interview about how your wife is in prison for horrific abuse against your kids,
if anything else were to happen, and what I mean is just like adversity and different challenging parts of life, I feel like I am more prepared for those to come now that I've been through something difficult.
Life right now for me is
in the most fucking respectful way. Who the fuck cares? Kevin, who the fuck cares?
Getting back into I would say a comfortable normal. There's still a lot of pain. There's still a lot of healing that I work on each day.
Literally is one-upping Chad every time.
It just looks and feels different now. I'm moving on, and I'm going to do what's best for my children, for my family, and for myself. And that's not going to include her.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure. Kevin is exactly the person that I have thought he is for a very long time, and I think it's incredibly selfish to go on like a media tour with one of your kids who went through all this, and a majority of it is you speaking about your new life. I think it's absolutely fucking ridiculous. I think it's fucking ridiculous. Is he possibly a narcissist? I'm not going to diagnose him, but yes. It's honestly ridiculous. I want him investigated. But as long as the kids are growing up safe and happy, but my God, what a man. What a man. I'm gonna leave it there.